Hello again from my front porch. Well, front seat of my car, actually. Don't worry, I'm not driving. I'm actually parked. I'm actually here in the Wal-Mart parking lot. See Wal-Mart back there behind me. Up here at the Wal-Mart in Ankeny, Iowa. And I was originally going to do this front porch episode today to talk about my latest results from the doctor. I just went in, did that appointment this morning. Got a new update from my doctor on my blood sugar status. And so I wanted to do a report on that. But as good as I think that is to talk about, something else happened. I after the doctor's appointment, I came here to Wal-Mart and I had an event happen that was a little bit of a teachable moment even for me. And I thought, you know what? It's a nice reminder, and I think that is more important for me to emphasize in this episode today. So I'll still tell you the blood sugar stuff at the end. But first, I want to focus on this really good lesson that I learned today. I got here to Walmart and I wasn't in a big hurry. I was just, strolling in there, but I tend to park over here on the side, not out in the big main parking lot, but the side here where you walk a little bit to get to it, but there's just the door there, with the traditional handle that you pull open and walk in, not the automatic ones you walk up over my area. And the reason I like it over here is because, well, there's less parking, there's fewer cars, and there's ready in and out access to this back road back here. And I love my back roads. I love my back road shortcuts. So anyway, I park here and I walk up to the door, and as I'm approaching the door, I notice this older lady, an elderly woman walking up as well, and me just being me, I pause and I grab the handle of the door and I pull it open and I step back to allow her to walk through ahead of me, because I just think that's what you should do. That's the way I was raised, and that's the way I believe. That's what you should do. That's my opinion. And so anyway, I can't really describe, and I don't want to be insulting either. If I started to describe, I might be just insulting. But suffice to say, the impression that I got of her was that she was not a happy person. The countenance on her face, her expression, and she looked like. She looked mean. She looked grumpy, and it would have been easy for me to just blow her off and be like, man, she's a grumpy old lady. She can get her own door. But I don't determine what I'm going to do based on, what I think the other person is like. I do what I do because of what I think is right. So I held the door for this, apparently grumpy little lady, and it would have been very easy, as I said, for me to slip into a judgmental mode just by her expression and how she was walking and just the distant look in her eyes. It would have been very easy to start making assumptions about that she's some mean person, that she's somebody who maybe just doesn't like life in general, just bitter, and I could have made all of those kind of assumptions just based on how she looked. But I held the door for her, and as she approached, she wasn't even noticing. I'm standing there holding the door open, and I honestly expected that she was just, without looking up, that she was just going to walk right through the doorway and never even realize that I was there holding the door for her, that she just would have walked right through it. But as she got closer, as she approached the door, she paused for a moment, apparently realizing that the door was open. She paused for a moment and she looked up and she saw me, and she gave me kind of a surprised look, and then with nothing else, just kept walking. And again, in my mind, it's reinforcing that, she's an unhappy person. She's a bitter, she's not even going to thank me. She's not even going to acknowledge even that I'm holding the door. She's just going to let me hold it and just walk through. But now here's the lesson. Be careful about judging people. Be careful about assuming about other people. You don't know what is going on in that person's life. You don't know why they may be acting the way they're acting, or why they're saying what they're saying, or why they do what they do. If you don't know that person, be very careful about passing judgment on that person. Now, I still don't know this lady's story, but I will tell you this. I stood there with the door open. She walked through the door. She took 3 or 4 steps in. I'm just getting ready to go in myself. I've walked around so I can go in the door now too, still holding the door. And this lady stops and she turns around and she walks back up to me, and she reaches out and grabs my forearm, grabs it real tightly, grabbed my forearm, and just looked at me. And I swear, almost with tears in her eyes, to the point that it almost made me cry too. Granted, I'm a sentimental softy marshmallow, but still, but she looked at me and she just had this so much indescribable emotion. I mean, I saw pain, I saw suffering, I saw just burden. I don't know what's going on, but she's dealing with something very, very heavy right now. It's very obvious that it wasn't that she was being mean, it's that she was wrestling in her own mind with whatever is going on. And as she walked through the door, she recognized the good deed that had just been done for her, and she turned around, walked back, grabbed my forearm, looked me in the eye with these almost tearful eyes, and simply said, "Thank you very much." And then she turned around and walked back the other way. And I stood there for, I don't know, probably just a second or two, but to me it felt like all afternoon. But I stood there just dumbstruck that all I did was hold the door for her. That's all I did. I didn't say anything. I didn't give her comfort of any kind. But here is a person who, again, from what I saw in her eyes, looks like she's, I don't know if she's lost a loved one, if she's dealing with a health issue, if there's some other turmoil going on in her life, either for herself or someone else, but she's carrying something really heavy. And someone holding the door for her was a gesture that gave her a little peace, that melted her heart a bit, that gave her a little positiveness in the day. And I don't hold doors for people so that I can get recognition or so that I can have that kind of an emotional. I do it just because that's what you do. It's just what you do. But in this case, again, I could have blown her off. I mean, I had to wait a little bit for her to walk up. She wasn't like right next to me. I could have just justified, well, she's a grumpy lady. She's in her own world, and I can just walk in. She's perfectly capable of getting the door. I could have done that. It would have been totally fine. I'm so glad I didn't, because now I won't say it's a life-changing impact, but I definitely had a positive impact on her today, and that has a positive impact on me. It's amazing that when you do good for others, how good it makes you feel. That was my lesson for today. Now, speaking of makes you feel good, I also had opportunity, as I said, to go to the doctor today. I wasn't expecting to quite feel so good after going to the doctor today, because I knew that this last month or so, I have not really been doing well on keeping a healthy diet. Now, I've tried. It's not that I've eaten completely junk and gone off the wagon, but there have just been enough, between the trip to Florida with Ashley and Josh, and you go to the amusement parks, there's not a lot of diabetic friendly stuff there. I had a whole week-long conference event thing that Waldinger had that I was at filming, and of course every meal that they make in hotels are carb heavy. You got pastas and potatoes and and all that stuff, and it's like no matter how hard I was trying, I was constantly barraged. Well, then I also noticed that, especially in the last few weeks at Waldinger, I was drinking a lot more soda to have the caffeine, because I don't drink coffee, and so I was drinking a lot more soda to have the caffeine, and so that I noticed I was starting to put on a little bit of weight again, and my daily blood sugar results were coming in a little high. They're in the 130s, some that had spiked up a little bit beyond that and then come back down. And so I was expecting, last time I was in, my A1C was 5.6, and the doctor said that actually was below the threshold of where being diabetic is, and so that was good, but it didn't mean I wasn't diabetic now, because that could skyrocket easily if I went off the wagon. So I went in today expecting that I was going to be at least back in the 6 range, hopefully no higher, but I was certainly expecting it to go back up a bit because I knew, and just last night I was at the theater watching Avengers, and I ate a salad for the dinner, but then I had chocolate chip cookies and peanut M&Ms and soda, and so yeah, I was expecting to be scolded today about my numbers going back up, but instead they went down farther. 5.4. Now, the doctor did point out that I do have the metformin in my system, and so that's helping. But technically, I had the metformin in my system 3 months ago, too, when it was 5.6. And I had the metformin in my system the 3 months before that when it was 6.4. And so even with the metformin in my system, even though that is true, still, it hasn't just stayed steady. It has continued to descend. So I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud that my efforts continue to pay off, although I am genuinely shocked this time around that it worked. But hey, I'm not going to complain. However, I'm also not going to take it for granted. I still need to be back on the wagon and be a little smarter about what I'm eating. He also brought up the issue about the colonoscopy, which, apparently when you turn 50, you're supposed to make plans for that. And so my doctor said to me, do you want a colonoscopy? And I said, want is an awful strong word. Now, if you're saying I need to get one, well, then we probably need to see about getting something scheduled. But if you're going to ask me if I want one, no, I do not want one. No. But that'll probably be don't worry, I won't do a front porch episode for that. But anyway, so yeah, I that was good news at the doctor's office. I was very pleased about that. But even as good as that news was, the bigger thing that I wanted to talk about was what happened right here at Waldinger. Old habits die hard. What happened right here at Walmart, where I had the opportunity because of a woman who was struggling with something, and a simple little act of niceness impacted her day. And I was very honored and glad to be the person doing that. I hope there are others that she encounters that do the same, because clearly she could use it. All right, anyway, with that, I'm going to head off. I'm in day 1 of my 2 days of unemployment. Well, technically speaking, my job at Waldinger ended Friday, and my new job doesn't start until Wednesday when I get on a plane and fly to Cincinnati. So, here today and tomorrow, I'm technically unemployed. So I'm going to go enjoy the rest of my day of unemployment. I'll see y'all next time from my front porch.